Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I called it Passive Income Parents because I have a child now and I have realized how unsupportive our society is of families, of being able to raise kids and live a good life at the same time, right? Like, we're kind of sold into this idea that we have to live this struggle way so that we can give our parent or our kids what they deserve, right? And it's like, at one point, I think that might have been more true because parents just didn't have access to the same things. But we really do have access to so many more opportunities than even our parents had. And it's super important for us to realize that as we go into these next generations, because I think that our system has fed us some bullshit. I really don't think we live in a society that prepares us for the job of raising kids financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, in any of these ways. And so for me, that's something that I care a lot about as I learn how to, live my best life while I'm also raising kids, raising the future generation. I'm here to share all of those secrets and all of those things that I wish I had known. So today I'm going to talk about why I am pissed off about our current financial system and the way we have lived in this society for such a long time, and why I think you should be pissed off too, okay? So let's have a pissed off part. Let's just have like I don't know. Let's just get pissed off together, okay? So one thing that I want to talk about is like the society that we have been living in and the narratives that we have bought into, and it's not our fault, but also at the same time, like, nobody is going to change those narratives for us, right? So for the longest time, we kind of had this societal structure where it's like, this is what you do. You grow up, you go to school, and I'm just talking about like middle class America. And it's even worse for marginalized groups and people that have lower income level because unfortunate events, right? And so a lot of people have been living under these narratives, and I say under because that's really what it is, because the narrative you believe is kind of like where you will rise to. And if you believe, hey, I'm just poor, like I'm one of the poor people, or I should live life this certain way, or people like me can never make money, we can never get ahead. These narratives dictate our reality, and I can say that because I have lived through all of these narratives, so I can say that from a very personal standpoint, right? And that's why I want to talk about it today, because I really started getting pissed when I started realizing that these narratives are crafted intentionally to keep a lot of us on a certain level of society. And they're crafted to keep us from rising any higher than that, right? Because society has been structured for a really long time to have this small group of people at the top that are benefiting from the majority of us, whether that's in, labor, in consumerism, in taxes, in all of these different ways, right? And so these narratives are the scariest part about it is that these narratives are intentional and they are pervasive. And the trickiest thing about them is that what they do is they use our own ideals to they appeal to our ideals about ourselves. They create narratives that give us ideals that aren't even ours, right? Like think about wherever you're at. Like for me, a long time, it was like, I don't want to be wealthy. I don't want to be like one of those assholes, right? And my pride was in the fact that I wasn't an asshole like a wealthy person. For some of you, it's like, oh, I went to college and got a good education. I have a good job and it's a steady job and all these, you have status in that. Maybe you're upper level management, or you're a CEO, or whatever it is, or maybe maybe your narrative that appeals to your ideals is that you are you care about everyone else, right? You want equalization of wealth, or whatever it is. All of these things are narratives that are fed to us that they really distract us from the main thing, right? And so one of the first things I'm pissed off about is that these ideals have been created for us. Like, for some people it's a blue collar job, working hard. Like, so many people have the ideal of working hard and they take pride in that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is great. You deserve to take pride in your hard work. But to believe that your hard work is equivalent to the wealth that you can achieve, wrong. So wrong. So to buy into any of these narratives, just to be led down a path where it's like, yeah, now you stay over here while we go and, use everything to our advantage to get wealthy while you work really hard. I hate that shit. Like I'm sick of it, because people that are the wealthiest do not work the hardest. Okay, end of story. And they don't have the best educations most of the time. They don't have these job titles that we covet. They're not poor, like some of us are proud of. And so just like, I want to just bring attention to this, because I want to open your mind to get out of whatever narrative you're in, whatever that might be, and explore the idea that maybe that's not all that's available to you, and maybe that all of us should have equal opportunity in this society, and that should come regardless. So once we can get these ideals out of the way, right, and take our worth or out of this idea that like it's equal, like somehow we are earning our paycheck, or like everyone's getting what they deserve, which I don't believe. I believe we all deserve to have the same chances, and that's kind of like what we're led to believe. It's like, oh, everyone has an equal chance, right? In this capitalist America, we all can do whatever, and we have these stories that we're told. And yes, some people are amazing at turning. I'm getting a bees like flying up next to me. Some people are great at turning hardship into opportunity and optimizing on that. And so kudos to those people. Shout out to you. But I don't believe that we all have equal opportunity. And I believe that a lot of people are suffering from that. So I want us to get out of that box of thinking any of these things. And I want you to explore with me. Okay, so say all of these narratives are bullshit, and we actually should have the same opportunities. Why don't we, right? And that comes to my next point, which I believe in huge part is central control. And I believe that that's why we were moved from like a gold standard, from trading with actual valuable items, to trading with something that could be manipulated and controlled, and is basically just a matter of mass adoption, right? It really was... it was a genius ability to create a belief system and give it to everybody, and then take that belief system, trade on that premise, and then be able to manipulate, and for whoever's in control of that belief system and that, that air currency, to have control over that. So in this centralized system, a lot of things changed, and society evolves over time. Things used to be a lot harder. So I think regardless of what it feels like right now, it feels so bad to some people, and for some people it is really bad, and I want to acknowledge that, right? One of the things about this centralized currency, and I'm not saying it's all bad, but at the same time, one of the things that it has allowed for is for there to be a certain monopoly on wealth, right? And a lot of that monopoly is just in information being kept from us, and there being this kind of tight-knit, good God, I can't talk, this tight-knit circle of control around all of it, so that nobody else can really get into what is set up to benefit this small group of people. At the same time, it's not that hard, because we're very malleable when it comes to information, and most of what the probably general population listens to still at this point is mainstream media, right? And I think it's no secret at this point that mainstream media is very curated, it's very controlled. I mean, you can literally trace it back to being owned by BlackRock and some of these companies, some of these entities that are also in cahoots with everything else and in control of the wealth, right? So while it pisses me off, and while there is this central control, one thing that I see as a light on the horizon that could go dark is the blockchain and crypto, right? Because it really was born out of that. It was really born out of people who understood that centralization is screwing the majority of us over, and they thought of a way to decentralize and redistribute wealth in a way that's actually fair, right? Where everyone has a chance at the same investing strategies, at the same amount of, access, all of these things that the central system does not offer us, right? So that is something that I think is super cool about crypto and the blockchain, decentralized finance. And yet at the same time, what we're seeing now is that the government and these entities are realizing, okay, this is a real thing, this is sticking around. And since they do have so much control over it, they are saying, okay, so how can we get our finger in this pie? How can we take back the control, right? So that's why we're seeing things like CBDCs, central bank digital coins, being like in the works, because that would what this is my non-financial advice opinion, is I think how they're going to navigate this is they're going to say, hey, look, crypto's dangerous, and they're already kind of setting up for this, right? Like all these different things where Luna happened, that crashed. So what they're going to do is they're going to point to all of these things and they're going to say, hey, it's much safer to come over to our central bank digital coin. But then if we do that, we're going to end up right back in the same centralized finance system. And I think with a twist, this is going to make it even worse. And to me, that twist is programmable digital currencies. There are so many big words to say in this space. But so to me, that is like, okay, so we can either continue to decentralize it and move in that direction, or we can be dumb and let the centralized system take over crypto, and then it's just going to go back to the same and worse what we have, right? And that is something that me personally, I'm not cool with that. So to me, it's worth us noticing, understanding this, and fighting for the further decentralization and freedom of currency rather than taking it, just giving it all right back, right? That's my opinion, and that is why I'm pissed off. And I think that this is a cool time because we actually have the chance to kind of have something to do with this, right? A lot of times it feels like it's all out of our hands, but the truth is we are greater, we are bigger. And if we understand and we make decisions collectively and individually that actually kind of like swing the tide of power, that's where we win. So that's why I'm talking about this. That's why I'm calling this out. And that's why I really want to just open your minds to think differently on this topic. Last thing I want to mention is, of course, one thing I talk about a lot, and that's the Forex Shark ecosystem. But why I'm bringing it up in this particular video is because one thing that I think is really amazing about what Forex has built is he has built a financial system that has similar opportunities and abilities to the current financial system, right? Like investing, peer-to-peer lending. He's an investor first and foremost. Before he developed the system, he understood deeply what the potential is of investing. And so since he's both familiar with investing in the investment markets, including worldwide foreign exchange, and he's also a developer and he understands the blockchain, he's put those two things together to create a financial system that there is nothing like to date in either our current traditional financial arenas or the DeFi space, right? And so a lot of people try to compare Forex's projects to DeFi projects that have already happened and failed and started to look scammy and had Ponzi-nomics and etc. And that is simply not true. What Forex has built is just, first of all, just getting started. And second of all, is absolutely genius in the way it is built to create an ecosystem where you can get in for either a small or large investment and use the ecosystem to grow your investments basically indefinitely. And one really exciting part of that is he has created an aspect of the ecosystem where you can actually gain ownership of the platform. And the reason that's so exciting is because, in crypto still, it's kind of the same as centralization, I guess. It's usually the big platforms, the exchanges that make all the money because they make dividends. They make a percentage on every transaction, everything that goes through their exchange, right? So Forex has essentially set up a part of his ecosystem where all of us have the chance to get ownership of the platform. So as the platform grows exponentially, as all of these new things come out and the animal farm launches and all of these things happen, we have the chance to gain ownership of the platform in a way that will give us lifelong dividends. This is crazy, right? And in a way that will give us dividends that currently only exchange owners and, you know, top dogs get a chance at. Yeah, we can always have a chance at exchanging crypto, trading, investing. But being a trader or investor, if you don't know how to get like actual ownership where you get dividends that grow and compound over time, that is limited. And this gives us like unlimited potential. And this is something that I really, really love about Forex and his genius development. And so you can find, I will do a video specifically on the pig pen at some point soon, but you can look it up on YouTube. You can look it up on you can listen to the video on the current landing page for Animal Farm, and you can find out more about how you can get ownership of the Forex Shark ecosystem and become basically like an exchange owner. It's super cool. I'm excited myself because I'm part of it, and I'm excited to see somebody that actually cares about giving this kind of ownership to just everybody. Again, none of this is financial advice. I'm just out here spreading my opinions, getting pissed, trying to get you pissed off too, and I just really care about as many people as possible understanding the potential we have to take control of our own sovereignty and freedom and finances like never before in history. Because I think one of the best things that came with the internet was the ability to have so much more understanding of what's really going on in the world, what's really going on in our own countries, our own systems, and to realize that we the people, and I'm talking like all of humanity, I'm talking about just people versus hierarchies. We have the power in numbers, and if we can realize that, and if we can like come together on that and realize that we have this, then hey, we win. Per usual, this is not financial advice. In fact, I'm considering renaming my channel to Not Financial Advice Channel. Let me know if that's a good idea. But yeah, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. This is just me out here talking about what I love to talk about and just really wanting to get the word out on some things that I think that we can all benefit from knowing, and that actually the more we know, the more power we will have together and individually. So that's what this is about. If my content resonates with you, I'd love for you to subscribe, to like, to share this video if you like what I'm saying out here. And I'm excited to have every single one of you here. Thank you for the support, and thank you for watching my videos.